Today's hike is brought to you by Gone with the Wind.
Exploring life's journey, one story at a time. This is TrailHeads with Jim Barrett.
MONICA TRACY is the leader of SEV Hikers, a SoCal hiking group I started 6 years ago. At the end of 2024, I moved to Atlanta, and MONICA took over for me as leader and is doing an outstanding job continuing the adventure. Today, she returns after being my very first guest on this podcast. Welcome, MONICA. Thanks again for joining me for another episode.
Thanks for inviting me back.
I've been out of California now for over a year, and you have just kept the group going strong. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. We're trying.
Where are you hiking tomorrow?
Tomorrow, we're just doing the Placerita waterfall hike.
And you guys have a ton of water, so it's probably going to be overflowing.
I was just going to say there's been so much rain lately, so there'll be a lot of creek crossings, and then probably the waterfall is going to be pretty big.
So jumping right in, I wanted to ask you, your role is with teaching software, hardware to health professionals. So you're already leading in your day-to-day role. Is that accurate to say?
Yes, I train clinicians on the medical software that they'll be using, so new hires that aren't familiar. So just on their medical software and how to document.
So in the last year, you've been leading SEV Hikers solo, and I'm wondering, what have you learned about guiding people outdoors versus everyday life or everyday job?
Well, people linger when you're outdoors. So when they're indoors, that's easy. I got them all in a room. They're not going anywhere. But when we're out in the outside, we have different styles, different fitness levels, and it's just more of a matter of trying to keep people together-ish. We don't have to hike as one big lump going through, but you just want to make sure that you are keeping track of everybody at least. When you have a bigger number, you kind of have to know how many are there. As of late, we haven't had any huge numbers come out, but still you want to make sure, okay, well, we had 8. I'm only counting 7, right? So you have to always make sure that you're not losing anybody. And sometimes, people are really good about, I'm hanging back. I got to make a pit stop or whatever it is. So if they're telling you, okay, then we'll leave them back a little bit behind. But you just have to make sure that you don't lose anybody and that everybody's okay.
That's a great point, because I think some new hikers, people maybe who've hiked on their own, who are not brand new to hiking itself, come along and they're like, oh, we're good, we're adults, we're fine. But there has to be that kind of give and take, I think, too, that where the new people have to know, hey, we need to know where you are. So just everybody sort of keep in touch.
I had hiked with one group one time. Well, it was like 4 ladies. They were meeting on some weekday, and I said, okay, I'll hike with you guys. And we met probably at Towsley or something. And within a few minutes, the first 2 were just gone. They were so fast. And I was kind of in the middle because I was trying to catch up, and there was somebody that was way behind me. And I thought, this isn't really a great group hike. I'm by myself. The lady behind me is by herself, and I don't know where she is. So I just kind of slowed down and waited for the other lady, and we hiked together. But I just thought that was odd. It's like, okay, let's meet and let's hike. And then we never saw those other 2 again. So, I try not to do that.
That's a great point. And how do you create a sense of belonging among people who may be strangers, brand new to the group? For people who are maybe thinking of hiking with you guys, the SEV hikers, how would you tell them that you guys welcome newcomers?
Well, it's a matter of first, they got to show up, right? Show up. And everyone has been really great, I think, along these same lines as just chatting with them, right? All the new folks, it seems like someone, whether it's me, whether it's somebody else in the group, hey, I'm glad you're here. What's your background, or how have you been hiking lately, right? So you just kind of chat with them and make them feel comfortable. And then we just start walking and everyone's chatting the whole time. So I think that gives them kind of a sense of, I kind of belong here. This is a nice group. People are talking to me. Right. And so they don't feel so ostracized or by themselves. I mean, it took me probably 6 months of seeing your hikes online to finally coming out there, because I was by myself. Right. So it's like, I don't know these people. It's going to be scary. And that's what you did with me. Everyone just started talking. You're like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. And we were just chatting. I'm like, oh, okay, I like this group, and so then I just continued to show up.
I remember that. That was the Mother's Day hike we did in May of 2021,
Right. It was Mother's Day, so it was May. Yeah.
Yeah. And you fit right in, and you've kept that going so well. So anybody who's thinking of hiking with these guys, know that you will be welcome, and you also won't be alone. There's plenty of other people who join SEV hikers who have never hiked before, or maybe it's been years.
Right. So that's why we kind of get a sense. And even like I said earlier, we have so many different fitness levels out there. So when the new folks come, they're going to fit somewhere in there, either with the slower or with the medium or with the fast. There's always a wide variety. And if there's faster people, they know that they'll walk a little faster if they want to. And then they stop and they wait, and they look, they take pictures, so we're not like, let's race to the top and see how fast we can make it there. We've never been that way.
We're a big picture taking group. That's
Right.
some people who come and look, my gosh, you guys stop every 15 feet to take pictures. But it's also kind of a nice moment too, to be able to do that. And I think that helps make people feel more welcome too, when they realize,
Yeah.
we're not like hardcore trying to get up there in 30 minutes necessarily.
Right. And that will make them feel more comfortable. It's like, oh, let's enjoy the nature. Oh, look at how cool the sunrise is. Oh, now look, it's been 5 minutes. Look now how cool the sunrise is. Right.
Yeah.
So that's why you have to take so many pictures.
You were touching on this for sunrise. You guys do sunrise. I like to do that too. Some people will say, oh, well, gosh, I showed up like 7 minutes late and they were gone. But that's one of the things that people have to know too, right? Is that when you've got a group of sometimes it's 4 people and sometimes it's 15 people. So we've always tried to respect the idea of everybody get there a couple of minutes early. Ideally, if it says that we're going at 6:30, try to get there by 6:25, but not try to get there at 6:35, because you may be
Right.
sitting there by yourself. Sometimes we'll hang for a couple of minutes if somebody has texted and say, hey, I'm going to be a few minutes late. But that's another
Exactly.
thing for the newcomers to just know, that whatever the hike is posted, please try to be there a couple of minutes before that. It's just so you can also kind of say hello to people too before you start grinding in there.
Right. And it's very helpful if they say they are going on the page, right? I'm
Yeah.
coming. So then we know, oh, these people are supposed to be coming. If we don't know you're coming, we think everybody's there, we're gone.
What has running SEV hikers changed about the way you experience nature or yourself?
I don't know if it's more of like a parental thing when I'm out there, but the sights are still the sights and they're still beautiful out there, right? So running it or not, one of the things that's different is I feel the not obligation, but I feel like I need to be out there more. People are relying on me, right? I'm not gonna flake. I mean, I'm not like I'm a flake anyway. I would go when I was saying I was going, but you want to just make sure. Hey, I told people I was coming out here. I'm going to be there, right? So if anybody else is coming, even if it's just one person, I'll be there and we can hike. It gives everybody this sense of, okay, they're coming, so I'm going to come. This accountability. So there's a little bit more accountability, I would guess. It's harder. I mean, I give you a lot of credit for when you were doing it. It's harder.
SEV hikers, good morning.
Good morning.
Upper and lower Northeast Passage right now, and today is daylight savings, which was a little bit challenging for some. But here we are, and it's gorgeous, and look at those clouds. And first day with apparently no rain, so we got that going for us.
Kudos to you for all the times that you did it and the years that you were doing it. It's hard sometimes.
Well, kudos to you for keeping it going too, because I mean, it's some days you just wake up and like any normal person, he's like, oh, I really don't feel like going right now. I just want to sleep in or whatever. But because of that responsibility, we rise up and we go ahead and do it anyway.
Yeah.
Um, have you ever had a hike that went completely off plan or somewhat off plan, for better or for worse? Because sometimes that can be something, oh my gosh, and everybody has to rise to the occasion. And other times it's kind of fun. Has either of those ever happened, going off track?
We've had a couple times where maybe it's just we're going the wrong direction and we have to catch up, or there's things that are blocking the road and we have to go around. And you kind of just make it like, well, that's the way it is. And now we're going this way, and I kind of just make it fun. I mean, the same thing happens in my job when something's not going with the computer correctly. It's like you can't make a big deal out of it. You just say, okay, so this is how this is working here. But, in real life, this is going to happen. So we're going to jump over to this other thing. You just make it like it's a normal thing and it's fine. It's an adventure. That's all good. If there's something blocking the road, we're going to go another way. If we got a little bit off track, we'll just get back on, right? So well, I try to make sure that I have my all trails on. So if we do get lost, we can get right back on, or somebody does, right? Sometimes there's 3 of us or 4 of us that have the all trails, and I'll be like, okay, you guys are doing that. I'll turn mine off, right? So as long as 1 or 2 people have it on and we can get back on track, if we do get off track, then it's all good. It's not a big deal.
Sometimes those are fun. Sometimes if something happens the wrong way, you get, oh, wow, look at this view that's not even on the tree. We're supposed to make a turn about 50 yards ago, but look at this view,
Right,
Sometimes
right,
there's that. I
exactly.
think sometimes it's comforting too for people who are new to it to see, oh, they're not perfect. Oh, this is great. They're just humans out here doing this.
Right.
Um,
And it should never be anything anyone gets upset about just because
right.
we're off track. We'll get back on. It's
Yeah.
not a big deal. So I think as leaders, as long as you make them know it's not a big deal, then it's not a big deal.
One of the things that came up for me, and that's sort of the spirit of this podcast, is that yes, it's about hiking and its core, but it's also about mental health to a certain extent. Because for me personally, I can't speak for others, but although I have noticed with other people, for me in battling depression and anxiety over the years, for me personally, antidepressants just didn't seem to work with my body chemistry. But what has is getting out there and hiking and other people and getting outdoors, or whether they're running or walking or just getting out and enjoying nature. What have you seen in people, or maybe in yourself, in the tight group or in the more extended group of people who drop in every few weeks or months? What have you noticed in certain people, not to name any names, who have made a change since they've been out there on the trails?
I think when people get out there and out in nature, it sounds so cliche. When you get out there, it's freeing, right? And it's like, oh, this is like, it's beautiful out here. How come I haven't seen this before? I need to see more of this, right? So there's a combination of just being out in nature and getting some exercise. That's also freeing and good for the body, right? So you're getting your exercise, you're out in the world, and it feels great out there. And sometimes you're chatting with friends and you have your therapy session going, just getting things off. And you're saying, okay, this is staying up on the mountains, no matter who you're talking to. And you're like, wow, that felt good just to get all that off my chest, just up here. And now I'm good to go for the rest of the day.
Part of that answer is also funny, because when people say, "Oh gosh, if you guys went at 9:30 or 10, I'd totally be there." But you guys go at 6:30. That's a great response to that question. What you just said is that the good thing is that you go on this beautiful hike that's a couple of hours, and then when you're done, you still have your whole day. You can go have breakfast, you can go hang with the family who aren't hikers or whatever. You still have all that time left.
Right, right. I was probably one of those, like, "Yeah, let's start at 9." And now I'm like, oh, I can't believe those people that want to start at 9. That's so late. For one, in the summer, you're walking in such heat, right? But then when you're done, it's like noon, and then you have lunch, and then like the day's almost over, right? So you got to get out there early. And, once you get out there, you're good. And most people are. It's like the hardest part is getting there, right? But if you're there, you're good to go for the hike, and it's great. So you
Right.
just got to show up first.
If somebody is sitting there, and because there are a lot of them, and like you said, you were one of these people at one point. If someone listening is curious about hiking, but they feel like, oh, I need to lose some more weight before I do it, or oh, I need to get out there and do some walking first before, what would you say to somebody who's kind of on the fence, really wants to, but is a little timid about it?
Well, I would say just go ahead and get out here anyway, right? If you're going to walk slowly, then you'll walk slowly at the beginning. You'll actually get better. So stop holding back and just, like I said, there's slower people, there's medium people. If you want to do it, just get out there and do it. Don't say, okay, I got to lose some weight first, because then it's going to take forever for you to do all these prerequisites that you don't need to do, right? Just get out there, walk slowly if you need to. Someone will make sure they're with you, right? We'll make sure everybody's catching up throughout. But, there's no need, and no need to feel bad about it either.
One thing people always seem to ask, especially if they're brand new, is, well, what kind of shoes, or what kind of, do you use sticks? Do you, the track poles? If somebody is going on their first hike with the group, what are 3 non-negotiable items they should bring along?
One thing that always you have to bring is water, right? So it doesn't even have to do with gear. Even if you have no gear, you have to bring water. I don't care if it's cold, if it's hot, because you don't want to get dehydrated out of there. And what if we get lost, right? And we're gone for an extra hour? You have to make sure you have water. Another thing, if people have the ability to, is have the right shoes. Sometimes folks will come out a time or two and say, you know what, these shoes are just not great. And then they can change their shoes. But those that hike in tennis shoes that are not good for hiking, it's going to make it so that they can't hike as well. They're going to be slipping. It's going to be not good for their feet. I had boots when we started, and that was fine. After a while, I thought these boots are too heavy, and I changed to trail shoes, trail running shoes, and those have been fantastic. Shoes are a big, big thing. But like I said, if you don't have the ability and you're like, I don't know, this is going to be my only hike, I don't know, I got to see if hiking is good for me, then at least water. And the way we hike, I would say also a snack. I didn't know about the whole snack thing before we started, and we always have snacks. I'm like, oh, this is great. I love having this little snack, halfway mark or whatever it is. And again, what if we get lost? What if something happens with the weather and you have no snacks? That might be an issue. So it kind of comes down to the nutrition part, right? The water and the snack, just in case. Sometimes you have the motherly types that they have a backpack full of all sorts of snacks, and water and everything, just in case anybody needs it. But those two things, and then plus shoes, are probably the most important.
It's shoes is interesting too, because that's so subjective. Somebody will sometimes put on the website, hey,
Yeah,
what shoes do people recommend? And then somebody will just ever say, Nike, Nike, Nike. And somebody else, Brooks, 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 or
yeah.
boots and not shoe, like you were just saying, and that all really, because for me, myself, I've battled plantar fasciitis before. And there are certain brands of shoes that tend to help with that. And that's helped me a lot. I also tend to wear high top boots as opposed. Sometimes I do shoes. I go back and forth on that. But if I know I'm going on a pretty rugged hike, I will wear the boots just to give myself more ankle support because I have
Hmm.
one weak ankle and it's the one that always gives out on me.
Right.
So those, but um, so that can be pretty subjective. And when when I respond to people asking that, I'll say, "Do you like shoes that have more give, or do you like shoes that are a harder feel?" And like you said, the ones that'll grip too.
Yeah.
Those are so important too because you can easily slip.
Yeah, there's
Um,
definitely not one answer.
I wanted to ask you about trekking poles, trek poles, hiking poles. What's your view on those?
So the trekking poles, I never used to believe in those. I thought they were dumb. But when I had my knee surgery, my doctor recommended, if you're going to go out and hiking, use the trekking poles, and that will help you maneuver, whether it's going up or down. Either way, they can help you.
Going down. We're going down.
I'm going down.
So I went out and I got some really great trekking poles. I don't know, they were like $100 or something at REI. And then come to find out, as long as you have the poles are poles, it seems. There's different grips. Oh, these ones your hands sweat, these ones you don't. There's that kind of thing. But basically, it's just having the poles to help you balance, to help you maybe even when you're going uphill, to help you push up or help your balance on the way down. So I also like the poles because when I'm hiking without them, like if it's going to be a very level hike, not much elevation, sometimes I don't bring the poles, but my hands get swollen, my fingers get swollen. So I like the fact that when I'm holding the poles, my hands don't get swollen. So I'm just keeping them up and I get a little exercise, up above. I've seen people that have, the $20 poles and they're doing just the same job as, as $100 poles. They're helping you keep your balance and moving up. They're not breaking in half when you use them once. I still have the same pair of poles, so I'm glad that since they were so expensive, they have lasted me at least 5-6 years now.
The first time I ever used poles was somebody else let me borrow them. We were at Rocky Peak and I had just like, hey, look at that view. And I was jogging over to get a shot of the sunrise. And I just, after a certain amount of birthdays, suddenly you can do the easiest thing. And then, ow, what just happened? So I had pulled something in one of my calves. And I was like, man, I may have to turn around. And one of the gals said, here, just for fun, try these. And so I used them and it's like, wow, it made all the difference in the world. So I was able to complete that hike, even though I was having this sharp pain in my calf. So that's another reason to have them too. The other thing, and this is what my cousin SHAWN told me, because he and his wife Jill are big outdoors people. And he says, you can also get a benefit of cardio with, and there's different
Oh,
videos
right.
you can watch on YouTube of how to add arms to your hike. We're all going to use our arms anyway to just naturally make strides. But if you have a less challenging hike, you can still use them and get some extra cardio out of the deal if
Yeah.
you want.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm one of those people, though, when you were talking about the price, I'm the guy with the $20 poles, and I've had mine for the first pair I had, I probably used for about 3 years, and I felt like that was a good run, for
Oh, yeah.
hiking once a week and to get 3 years out of a $20 pair. You can spend more, and if you're really into them, yeah, you can spend upwards of $100 for a
Hmm.
pair of them. As the leader, what safety practices do you insist on every hike, no matter how experienced the group is?
Safety practices, I would say one is at least to keep track of all the people. I think that's kind of a safety issue, right? So, and again, sometimes we have a couple people going a little bit faster. That's fine. Sometimes I'll try to stay somewhere in the middle so I can see forward, I can see back. But we have to make sure if someone is slower, that at least one other person is with them, and then we're in contact all the time so we know, okay,
Yeah.
no one's back there alone. And whether it's just getting lost, whether it's the creatures out there on the mountain, you never know, right? Sometimes there's bears, sometimes there's coyotes. On our hiking with SCV hikers this whole time, I've never seen a bear, but that doesn't mean we will never see one. I know I have in my backpack is a little first aid kit, and I think a couple other folks usually do too. So we just want to make sure somebody has some sort of first aid kit,
Yeah.
Band-Aids, gauze, whatever. Just, we're not going to perform operations out there, but at least if you have something to help. There was this one time where this one guy walked under this tree limb and the tree cut the top of his head. So, luckily someone had their first aid kit and they could help
Who
this.
are you talking about? Here's where the staples went.
Yeah, he could help that person.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot of injuries, but you just don't know when you may. So you have to be prepared for stuff like that. Because if you have 6, 7 people out there and someone hurts themselves and nobody has a first aid kit, that's not okay, right? So we have to just make sure we have that.
And they always seem to happen in places on trails that you would least expect it. Because that
Right.
incident you're talking about, I had hiked that trail probably 50 times.
Yeah.
And on this one particular day, it was just this little, and the taller hikers especially, but everybody experiences this. Sometimes there's low-hanging branches, and so you're walking and you're talking, and all of a sudden this branch, instead of just being leaves, had this razor-sharp little point on it and just ripped my head open. And fortunately, there were people who, A, had more water than needed, and
Right.
also had Bactine or some kind of a iodine, something that they cleaned the wound with. And initially, my thought was, "Oh, it'll be okay. He'll heal up. It's not that bad," because it wasn't bleeding as bad. It happened in the middle of the hike too, and like a 5.5 mile loop.
Exactly. Of
So it
course,
wasn't
it's
like we're going
right
to
in the
turn
middle.
around. It's like we may as well finish because we're halfway through the loop. Um, but yeah, the first aid kit is definitely something you want to have, even if you don't have the full paramedic pack. If you've got something that's something to clean a wound, something to dress a wound, maybe some kind of something that's got like an ace bandage or something, you just never know. So amazing.
Yeah.
What about preparing for weather changes, temperature changes? What do you suggest for people with that?
Hopefully we check the weather beforehand so we know if there may be weather changes, right? So a lot of times when we start so early in the morning, it's freezing, right? So people have sweatshirts, they have layers, they have, shirts underneath. They'll have a jacket on top. So if that's the case, it's just a matter of undressing, right? So we have to take breaks. Hold on, we have to peel off a layer. So everyone stops, we take off a jacket, so we'll do that quite often. Um, Other times, if it's like, well, it may rain, and it's not raining when we start, hopefully, I try to do it. People will bring like those, like the windbreaker type jackets, a rain jacket, but a light one that you can just throw in your backpack. So if anything like that does happen, you can just throw that on. So if you have a backpack with you, that's usually the best for putting on, taking off. You can keep stuff in there. If you're just bringing like a fanny sack or something, it's very hard to hang on to your stuff as you're loading and unloading onto yourself. And I've done that before, and you end up, well, here's my jacket. Now I've got to just wrap it around my waist, something like that. So I really prefer to have the backpack. It's not necessary, but it's handy for you to keep stuff like snacks and extra water and a jacket or your sweatshirt if it gets hot. So I like bringing my backpack for
Yeah.
that reason. And I actually have one of the backpacks with the water thing in it. I know a lot of people don't like the water bladders because it tastes like plastic. I've gotten used to it now, so I don't mind it. I really like those backpacks because when we're just walking, I can take my drink of water, take my drink of water. I seem to be one of the few that actually uses one of those. Lots of other folks will just bring the bottles and put them in the backpack, but then we have to stop. We got to get a backpack. You got to get the water out of it. You got to open it. You got to drink it. For me, I'm just like, okay, done. I like it for that reason. And maybe that's how I just got used to drinking it out of that plastic tube, but I don't mind it at all.
Even as the leader, we'll get out there. I'm like, oh my gosh, I forgot my water. And then, 3 people, here you go, which
Right.
is kind of a nice thing. That's part of it too with the dynamic is communication within the group. I'm going to go back to one thing that we talked about earlier, like watching for people who are either new to hiking or maybe they have a temporary or a permanent disability of some kind, or if there's some one hiker we have has issues with leg pain, but they love it and they love to be out there, and so we always make sure that somebody is with them for the hike and they don't get left behind.
Right.
And sometimes you do it in layers too, like you were saying that too, that maybe as the leader you can't necessarily be the one with the person in the back, but if you have people who hike with you every week, if you've got a core group of regulars, then you can sort of split that responsibility out too, and just in terms
Right.
of the etiquette of looking out for other hikers.
Right. And we'll have people say, "Oh, I'll stay in the back with so and so," or "I'll do that." I'm like, okay, okay. "Oh, I'm moving up front." Okay. Right.
Yeah,
So there is a lot of communication
yeah.
with folks to make sure that we're all okay.
Monica, here is your lightning round. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Sunrise or sunset?
Sunrise.
Okay. Game face or smile?
Smile.
Okay. All right. Tent or cabin?
Cabin.
Okay. On the snack front, salty or sweet snacks?
Salty.
Okay.
For the hike.
Yeah. All right. Here's a little bit deeper dive. What is your 11th out of 10 essentials for taking? What is your 11th piece of gear or equipment or something to bring along that isn't standard for most people that Monica brings on a hike?
My 11th. I bring so many things. I don't. I would say uh, ear covers.
Okay.
I
For
get
when
really
it gets
cold.
cold.
And if it's windy, so I always have my baseball cap or I have a beanie, right? So I always have to have something that a lot of people don't always have, but I have to cover my ears. I just have to.
Okay. What is your post-hike meal of choice?
Post hike, I would say scrambled eggs.
Okay. All right. If you could have a hiking-related superpower, what would it be?
Able to climb tall buildings. Um, I would just say that whole uphill, like a goat. If I could be like a goat and just climb up the side of a mountain, that would be awesome.
What is your favorite sound when you're out in nature?
Waterfalls.
Hmm. And what is your bucket list hike?
Bucket list hike. Very good. One of my bucket list hikes I've already done, and that was Half Dome. I'm not sure what another one would be. It's probably going to be one that I would never do, like Kilimanjaro, something
Hmm.
like that.
Well, you know what mine is. I don't know if you remember the name of it, and I don't know if I will ever do it, but there's one in England that's called Striding Edge, and it looks amazing to me, but a lot of people get hurt on it. There's apparently a less dangerous version of it that's right alongside it that's not, 'cause a lot of the hiking, and maybe I'll cut to it here, is you're literally going along the apex of this mountain
Uh-huh.
range. I think it's 3,000 feet, but there's some treacherous parts where you're looking down, and here's the video of it, but it's like, whoa, and people do get injured on it. But it's something that I'm really curious about, and you see a lot of older people doing it. So that's on mine.
That's
But one
funny.
of
I thought
mine
of that
mine
right when
also.
you asked that question. I thought, oh,
What's
I
that?
know that yours is that one in England. I couldn't remember the name either, but I'm like, I don't think that's mine.
So, my wife and I, we're in Atlanta now, but we come back and hike with you guys still from time to time. And we've been talking about it for years, want to go to Zion. I still want to go there. And you guys do like at least one big hike. You guys went to the Channel Islands this past year that I
Right.
wasn't able to go on. How was that?
I didn't make it.
Oh, you did. Whoops. Yeah.
Thanks for that. No.
You guys did another fairly big one though too, that you led. What am I forgetting?
With the group or just with me and the two girls, we went to the Ring of Fire in
Oh yeah.
Vegas or out there. There was a few cool ones out there. Um, I'm not sure
Near
what
Red
other
Rock
ones we did
Canyon?
with the big group. Yeah,
Is that near Red? Yeah.
it is near there. Yeah,
How was that for you guys being experienced hikers?
that was great. It was wonderful out there. Yeah, it was super fun. It wasn't a national park, but it was a state park. So that part was cool. I
Huh.
mean, and if you go back to my bucket list, I say the big, huge ones, but I would love to hit over my lifetime, I'd love to hit all the national parks. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't been to so many. I've not been to Zion. I've not been to anything in Utah. There's so many out there. I've never even been to the Sequoias. I've been to Yosemite a couple times, but that's it. It's like I need to hit more national parks. We have so many.
Well, maybe we should make that our goal for the next in the next 12 months is to figure out how we could possibly do Zion and meet up there or something.
Yeah.
That would be a fun one.
The one thing I thought about is, wow, Jim did so well doing this. And it was a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Just, getting people together. It's nice that when you're in town, everyone's like, yay, Jim's here. And we can actually have, more people on the hikes. It's hard, but I don't mind getting out there myself. It's like, I'm going, so we're going anyway. So let's see, whoever wants to come on out. Right. So, it's hard to believe that it's already been a whole nother year.
Some of my favorite SUV hikers are arriving in the ATL right now.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you? Great to see you.
Hey.
How are you?
Okay, how are you?
It had to be a media event.
You're such a dork.
We were just out in Atlanta, right? We came out to see you in April, and that was super fun. You just get to see different geography, different, mountains and different bodies of water. So that was super cool.
Master Yoda taught me to be a Jedi in these bamboo forests here on the world of Atlanta.
Last year we went to Sedona for my 60th. So that was super fun too. We had a huge hike on there. We were out for like 7 hours. And that's one of those times you wonder, like, I hope we have enough water and I hope we have a snack, because we didn't expect to be out there for 7 hours. And of course, my phone went dead. There's things like that happen when you're out for a long time. Oh, I didn't expect my battery to wear out. But if you need, maps and they're on your phone, bring an extra phone charger. And my husband, he's trying to track us and he couldn't find me. Oh, I don't know. I'm going to call the hospitals. I'm going to get the authorities out there. So there's all those kind of things. So, it's exciting when you go hiking.
Somebody who maybe is not a hiker or is thinking about doing it, there's a great app that many people may not know of. A lot of us do. It's called All Trails. And it's wherever you live in the world. I mean, it's not
Right.
just even the US or California or Georgia. You can go on there and there's a free version of it. You don't have to buy their subscription. And the free version has a lot. More than half of our hikes, I would say, we lose cell service at some point.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about All Trails, and probably other apps that I don't know about, is that you see one, we're going to definitely go there. So download it. You download it on your phone, and then you don't even need cell service. We did a hike that I would love to take you guys on the weekend. We went to the location where they filmed Fried Green Tomatoes. There's this little place called the Whistle Stop Cafe. For the movie, it had to look like it was in 2 different time periods. It was in the 30s or 40s, and then in the 80s. And so they had a modern version of it for those days and then the dilapidated version. There's a trail within 5 miles of that we did that was beautiful. Even in the winter, kind of the fun thing is to find the colors that are popping, whether it's the woodpecker up here or whether it's, the little batch of green that's peeking out. That's always my little go-to that I think people like, is if you can find something that's related to a movie location, or, there's the Bat Cave, or there's where they filmed Star Trek, or I'm a total nerd about all of that stuff.
I know, but I think that's what people liked about going on your hikes. You always had the history of where we were hiking. And it's kind of funny how there were so many of them that involved TV shows or movies, right? Because we're in Hollywood. We're just being in Southern California. So you always had the information on that, which I thought was super cool. I don't have your knowledge of all of the entertainment where everything was filmed. And, we just hiked here and down the road is where the Brady Bunch house is, or whatever it might be. You always knew where everything was. So we have to take that extra little side tour and check it out, which was cool.
I think in my other life, I was a location manager.
Choppers! Choppers!
That stuff is fun. And Georgia has a lot of those too. But wherever you live, there's always that sense of going out and seeing your town in a way that you hadn't seen it before. You have a core of your go-tos, though, that you guys do that I know that you like. And one of them involves, it starts out pretty moderate and then it gets...
East Canyon?
East Canyon, yeah.
It's a 5-mile round trip or out and back. People forget that, this is a little bit harder than I thought. Maybe 1,300 feet elevation. So we don't do those often, but that was fun as well, because Mission Peak is such a hard hike on the other side and it gets so windy. But if you're just going down it, that's not too bad.
There's video of you literally getting blown down on the hike. You're telling It's called O'Melveny, but it's also called, like you said, Mission Peak.
Yeah, you
On the
start at
back top.
O'Melveny.
And actually, it's been nicknamed "Oh Lord" by one of our regular hikers. She said, "Oh Lord, I'm not doing that one again."
Everyone knows it's windy.
That's a challenging one because it starts, oh, you look, what a pretty little park, and then suddenly you're going 45 degrees up, and for a
Right.
while, it's like, oh
It
man.
is a tough one.
Well, thank you for talking to me again, Monica. I appreciate you doing this, and I so appreciate that you guys are keeping SEV hikers alive and keeping everybody challenged and having a good time out there. So thanks for taking the time out and talking to me again. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. And just know that we're always saying your name on the hill, wherever we are. Oh, well, we got lost. Where's Jim? But anyway, we keep your name alive up on the mountains all the time.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Well, thanks again, Monica, and I will see you on the trails.
All right. Thanks, Jim.